You know what? Yes, there is. Fuck it. I'm gonna kill you. Axe right to the head. Oh god, yes, I love it. Oh god. Oh yes. Goodbye, Nia.
We do not forgive. We do not forget.
What's up guys, Deceiver here. So I've been playing a lot of Dead by Daylight lately. I didn't realize how great this game was until just recently, and I absolutely love playing the killers in this game. It was my favorite thing to do in the game. Playing the survivors is fun, but I'm a little more on the sadistic side if you guys haven't noticed from my channel already. So I came up with a list of new killers that I want them to bring into the game at some point. I know they probably wouldn't bring all of these, but I'd be happy if they brought just one or two of these out of this list, because I think I got some pretty good ideas. I don't know about you guys, but I think they're pretty good. So here's the list of the different killers that I got. I've got some ideas of what their powers and stuff would be, and what their abilities and what they'd be able to do in the game would be. So I don't know, some of them might be a little overpowered or underpowered, I'm not sure, but I just want to see the killers themselves. They can do whatever they want with the powers and stuff. I just want to see these characters put into the game. So here we go. Alright, so number 10 would be Chucky. I want to see Chucky put into the game. I think it'd be cool to see a little tiny murderer running around the map. It might be more comical than it would be scary, but at the same time, having this little shit running around would be kind of scary. So being short has its downside, but it also has its perks. You won't be able to see over obstacles, but they wouldn't be able to see you coming as easily as they would other killers. So I think he would have like the ability to climb on survivors' backs and stab them while channeling and having to hit skill checks. Having skill checks for a killer would be kind of cool. The survivor would also have to hit skill checks in order to sling him off. So basically, after several successful skill check stabs, it would down the survivor, and then Chucky wouldn't obviously be able to put them on hooks because he's too short to actually lift them up. So the entity would have him drag them over to a hook and then like tie them up to the side or the post or whatever, and then the entity can just take them from there. I'm not really sure how that would work exactly. I haven't thought all that part out, but I think it would be really cool to have Chucky in the game. What do you guys think? Alright, so the next one that I think would be pretty cool would be like a cultist. I don't want to say like Charles Manson or anything like that, because I don't want to glorify Charles Manson or the awful things that he did or anything like that, but just like a cult leader in general. I've been watching a lot of American Horror Story, the new season or whatever. It's kind of garbage in my opinion, but we'll get into that some other time. But anyway, a cultist would have like the ability to whisper to a survivor several times, just kind of keep nagging at him and talking to him, and eventually convince the survivor to hang themselves on a hook, so he wouldn't even have to do it. So that would be his special ability, is being able to convince a survivor to sacrifice themselves after being talked to several times, because charisma is a huge thing with cult leaders. So being able to convince a survivor to hang themselves on a hook would be a really cool thing. I don't know, that might be kind of underpowered, because by the time you whisper or talk to a survivor several times, the other survivors could be doing the generators already. So that might be a little bit underpowered or overpowered, depending on how long it takes to actually convince them to do that. But I still think a cult leader would be a really cool addition to the game. Alright, and the next one. This would be a really cool one. I think it would be completely fair. The Plague Doctor. So the Plague Doctor would have a poisonous potion that he can throw into an area that slows more and more over time. So it's poisoning them and they're slowing down over time. It doesn't take up a huge area, but it's not a tiny area at all. So they'll be able to, like, the survivors will be able to get out of it, but they'll also not be able to just directly step out of it either. So I think it would be fair if he carried maybe 2 or 3 of them at a time and was able to get them out of the lockers the same way that the Huntress does with her hatchets. So I think that would be a really neat component for a killer. I don't think it'd be too overpowered. I don't think it'd be too underpowered. I think it would be absolutely leveled. Now, obviously, it would need to take some time and precision to be able to throw these, because it'd be kind of unfair to throw it in the middle of a, like, where a survivor is, and it slows them down so much to where you can catch up with them easily. but I think like a growing slow would be really fair and really really easy for the survivors to get out of, but it would also give them an area that they have to avoid as well, giving the killer a small advantage as well. So I think this would be a really cool addition to the game. Alright, so the next one that I think that would be really cool would be the Wishmaster. I don't know if you guys have actually ever seen Wishmaster movies, but they're pretty interesting. They're a different take on the killers that no other movie really has. So basically, his ability would be to be able to barter with the survivors. Now, the survivors would have to take the chance that the Wishmaster's not just going to hit them and down them, but he can also give them the choice to be able to gain a really strong temporary perk in order to gain some kind of advantage for a little while, and then in exchange they have to sacrifice some of their hook life. So basically the premise of the movie is that they get granted a wish and they get something that they want, but then they die later on that in a way that has to do with what the wish they asked for is. Like, it's really weird. You'd have to watch the movie, but I think the ability, yeah, they get to barter for a perk, aka a wish, but they also have to sacrifice some of their hook life. So instead of when they're hooked the first time, after they've used this, they would only have like half of their hook life or something because they bartered for that perk. I think that would be a really cool addition. I don't know, that one's a little bit more abstract, but I still think it'd be kind of neat to see. Alright, the next one that we have would be the Creeper from Jeepers Creepers. Now, this one would be my least excited one to actually see in the game, but I think it would be kind of cool. The Creeper's kind of creepy because, I mean, his name is the Creeper, so his abilities would be able to channel a flying move that would take him to a different spot on the map. Because in the movies, the Creeper can fly, obviously. I don't want it to be so overpowered that you could just fly all over the fucking place, but being able to leap to the other side of the map with a flying move would be kind of cool. Also, I think he should have the ability to crouch, to have like a stealthier approach, because in the lore the Creeper is kind of like a stealthy character, can go invisible kind of thing, but I don't want more invisible characters because the Wraith is garbage and Freddy is garbage, so we don't need more invisible characters. But him being able to crouch and be stealthier and sneakier and have a smaller terror radius, I think that would be kind of fair and make him an interesting like assassin type killer. Alright, and the next one we have is the Vampire. I think a Vampire just needs to be in this game. It would be an easy killer to easily fit into the game. Easy, easy, easy. Easy is my favorite word for this spot. So, Vampire. What he would obviously do is feed on the survivors once he's down them. Once he's down them, he can do a feeding move, which gains him power tiers, kind of like Michael Myers does, and give him different perks and abilities as he levels up his tiers of feeding. So he feeds on one survivor, he gains like a speed boost or something, gains on another survivor and can see their aura in like a certain radius or something like that, and then feeds on another survivor and then he can one-shot hit them, gain some speed, can see their aura. I don't know, so they could give him some different abilities for feeding on the survivors. Obviously, it would need to take some time to feed on the survivors, so there would be a downfall to doing this. But I think that would be really interesting and cool. I don't really, like I said, I don't really care what they do with the powers and how they balance the powers and everything. I just want to see some of these iconic characters in the game. Alright, so this is one that I think would be really, really cool if they actually put him in. So I think Jack the Ripper would be a really cool killer to put into the game. Now, what would his ability be? I think he should obviously have the ability to dismember the survivors. Like, that is one thing that I think this game is missing, is some more gore. Friday the 13th, the game has a lot of gore in it, and that's what makes that game kind of cool. The overall rest of the game I don't really like, but it does have that gore factor, and I think Dead by Daylight needs more gore in it. I vote more gore. Vote gore, guys. Leave a like if you think you should see more gore in this game. So, having the ability to dismember the survivors. Now, I don't want it to be game breaking how he dismembers them. Now, I think if you dismember a leg, then it obviously slows them down when they run. If you dismember an arm, that makes them slower at finishing generators and leaping over windows and stuff. Now, I don't want it to be completely debilitating to where it's just fucked up, but also it would have to take quite a bit of time to dismember a survivor. So I think that should be the downfall, is it takes, you know, a good 30 seconds to dismember a survivor, but the next time you find them, it's going to be a lot easier for you to hit them and kill them. So I think that would be really interesting to give a killer a long-term lasting effect on the game like that. But that could be overpowered, that could be seen as overpowered to some people. Like I said, most of these abilities probably are overpowered. I'm not a developer, I don't do balancing and stuff like that, but these are just some of my ideas, so throwing that out there. Alright, and everybody's gonna love this one. I think this one would be really, really hard to put into the game though. I don't even know if it would work, but I think they should try to put Jigsaw in the game from the Saw movies. Now, the only thing I could come up with is that instead of hooks being around the map, there would be different traps that he has on the map. I don't know how they would do this. It would probably take a lot of development and be really hard to do, but it would be cool if there was like some different traps you could put them on instead of putting them on hooks. Maybe make it to where the traps that he has are only in the corners of the map, so that, you know, if he doesn't have time to get them there, he still has the option of just hooking them instead. But putting them in these different traps, they could have like 3 or 4 preset traps that they have with skill checks, not make it too ridiculous or too hard to get out of or anything like that. But I think that would be kind of interesting to actually do. They could just take like 3 or 4 of the traps from the movies, implement it into the game, and then put them in the corners of the map so that if he's not near them, then they're not even usable and he has to just use the hooks or something like that. I'm not really sure how they could do this, honestly. This is probably the least viable one on the list that they could do, but it'd still be kind of cool to see old Jigsaw in the game, right? Alright, so coming in at number 2. Now, these aren't really in any particular order except for the number 1 spot, which is the one I want to see the most. But number 2 is going to be Pinhead, aka the Cenobite. So, I'm really not sure what kind of powers they could put into the game for this guy, because he has so many different supernatural powers in the movies, but also in the movies, this is what makes him the perfect candidate to be put in this game. In the movies, he puts people on hooks. Like, that's so perfect. It goes straight in with the game. Puts people on hooks, he tortures them, he uses like chains and stuff. He like has these Cenobite followers, maybe they could use that to their advantage sometime. He can teleport, he can manipulate, you know, time and reality and stuff like that. So there's a lot of different powers they could play along with. I don't know what kind of weapon he would have exactly, but there's a lot that they could play with. Please put Pinhead into the game. I think he would fit right in there with Freddy and Michael Myers and all the other iconic horror movie killers. He would fit right in with them. All right, so I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I don't know how that works. I mean, he's got nipple rings though, right? That's creepy. I got nipple rings. I'm creepy. So yeah, just put him in the game. Just figure it out and put him in the game. All right, we're moving on to the number 1 spot. Alright, my number 1 choice for new killer to be added into the game, and I want to see this so badly. Dead by Daylight developers, if you happen to watch this by some miracle, please put this character in, or something like this character in. I really want to see Pennywise the Clown in Dead by Daylight. If you can't do Pennywise, please at least do Twisty from American Horror Story, or just a clown killer in general. Clown killers are so fucking creepy. I want a clown killer like right now. I will main a clown killer forever. I will play them forever. Now, Pennywise would be my number 1 pick for the game, and if they could get the Bill Skarsgård version, that would be a little bit better, because he's a little bit creepier and not as comic as the Tim Curry one. Don't get me wrong, Tim Curry did an amazing job in his role, but I loved Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise, and I think he would just be the creepiest, best character that they could put into this game. like I said, clown killer in general, that's what I need in my life, Dead by Daylight. That's what I need in my life. Now, Pennywise, what would his ability be? Now, the only thing I could come up with, because Pennywise has a ton of different things that he can do, like different powers and stuff. So the only one that I could come up with that would be kind of fair and not already in the game would be that he has like these red balloons scattered across the map. They just start out in random places, and his power would be that he could burst these balloons, blood comes out of them, and it hits the survivors if they're close enough to it, and it damages them or it puts them in a dying state depending on how many times they've already been hit. So I think that would be absolutely awesome. It would be really hard to do the animations for this, but if his basic attack could be him actually biting someone, that would be really, really terrifying. But I'd be cool with them just, you know, having like a claw hand or something like that. I don't really care. I just want a clown killer in the game. Pennywise would be ideal. Clown killer in general has to be in the game at some point. Like, I can't see them not putting a clown killer into the game. So let me know in the comment section what you guys want to see as far as killers go. What killer do you guys want to see in the future in Dead by Daylight? So that pretty much wraps it up for my list of killers that I want to see. Developers, if you happen to see this, take some of this into account. Don't take all my suggestions, obviously, but some of these characters should be in the game, and you might be looking for some new suggestions. I mean, I'm for hire if you really want me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and leave a like, a comment, and subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Subscribe to join Deceivers Legion.